So I'm recording this video because I have seen plenty of DJI Spark active track tests online. I have not, however, seen many DJI Spark active track tests through dense forest or low flying, where it truly puts to the test its tracking abilities and obstacle avoidance. I've seen mainly people riding their bikes. I've seen it with cars, I've seen people playing sports, but I haven't seen anything quite like what I am doing with it right now, walking through this relatively dense forest trail. I myself am an avid hiker. This is mainly what I plan to use the Spark for, that's why I bought it. It's 2020 and I bought an almost 3-year-old drone. Why, right? But there's some really good reasons behind it. The new Mavic lineup came out almost a year ago now. I was thinking I was going to buy the Mavic Mini. However, there's a major problem with the Mavic Mini and it doesn't have obstacle avoidance anywhere on it, not even forward. And that's to meet that 249 gram weight requirement to not have to register it as a drone. Now, I think DJI really missed the mark on that, because without obstacle avoidance, you cannot have active track. Now, I know many of you might not use active track too often, you might see it as a gimmick, but myself as a hiker, oftentimes I'm alone, or I'll be with a group of people and we can't really stop for too long. It has to be a relatively easy to deploy drone like this one. You'll see right here, by the way, it's going to get hung up on these branches. It's going to drop down a little bit, but ultimately it'll get hung up and I will have to assist it with the remote. But anyway, I ended up with the Spark as my main hiking drone. It's for social media and YouTube. It shoots 1080p, which is fine for both of them. It does have a dual axis gimbal, so it's not as smooth as, say, the Mavic lineup, so that's definitely something. But for my uses, it's perfect. And now that the new lineup, the new Mavic lineup came out, I got it for $300 with 4 batteries, a carrying case, the remote, everything, the works. So it's still a very good time to buy it. I'm not a drone enthusiast myself. I'm a photographer. I have a ton of photography equipment and that's what I'm proficient in. This is another tool for me. I like all forms of videography, photography, so it does enable me to get some very cool shots on the trail. Essentially, it's going to be, I'm not going to use it as a drone, almost. Sometimes I will, but mainly I'm going to be using it as a replacement for somebody following me with a gimbal or a form of a steady cam in a way. Obviously that's a larger production, but even so. So you'll see right here, I had to lock it again. I had to reset active track. It lost me. I reset it again. It's not maintenance free. If you want maintenance free, get a Skydio 2. Now it's a lot more. You're probably going to invest $1,300 into it instead of $300, so it's up to you. It's following me, and one thing that I did experience was it does require you to keep the drone at a certain height to lock onto with active track and follow you. There's a minimum height, and that's to keep it from hitting things really low coming off of the ground, which I understand. It's going to get hung up here, but even so, the minimum height requirement, actually, I'm sorry, it didn't get hung up here. I had it auto landed because I was on low battery. Anyway, I'm doing some panning shots here. I wanted to practice a little bit before I actually went on the trail. Always test your gear like I am here. You do not want it to fail in that spot where you have one shot, one chance. Anyway, I'm bringing it back. From here, I'm going to try to active track again Going to turn a little bit. Again, I'm raising it up because there is that minimum altitude requirement to lock on to me for safety. It's a little tricky sometimes, but again, nothing's perfect. My friend's about to fly his Mavic 2 into frame, and even he was having issues with the brand new Mavic 2 Pro in this forest today. It was extremely overcast, so the non-infrared obstacle avoidance sensors on his drone weren't working perfectly. He's actually going to get in the way of it right here, which is fine, but it's gonna start locking onto him instead for some weird reason. So you just give it a little assist with the controller, and it will. I did have to relock it onto myself, but oftentimes when you have to assist it with the controller, it doesn't automatically unlock from you. That's only if it loses sight of you behind a tree. So I did, however, get into an accident with this drone. I was getting a little bit cocky, but see right here, this is the kind of shot that I love, where it's about to crash. I was using the slider and it's going to crash into the tree right here. I think that this is a really solid test and about the limit that you would ever plan to take this drone in. And being 2020, I still think it's extremely viable. It shoots into 1080p, which is fine for YouTube and Instagram. And it really impressed me with how well it did. So I say go for it.